Evening it is. Oh, I forgot. See the huge crowd. Well-informed audience is present here. By the way, did you all meet my friend? Oh, didn't you all see her? But I can see her. It's obvious that none of you sitting here would believe me, because nobody can see that individual, right? Yes. This is what happens to a human when he or she loses their ability to identify the difference between what is real and unreal. Schizophrenia, a rare term. I know most of you are confused of what I have just said right now. But don't worry, because I'm not going to puzzle your mind. Instead, to inform you all about a grave mental illness. In my perspective, this mental disorder as a topic should be discussed because awareness is always essential. You know what? For the first time, when I heard the same term schizophrenia, my reaction was literally like, which language is it? The very first question that will pop up in all your curious minds would be, so basically what happens in schizophrenia? And the answer is, it's a type of mental disorder that brings an immense change in person's way of thinking, feeling that also affects their normal behavior. Kindly mark it in your mind that this disorder can happen to anyone, whether a kid or an old person. A person who thinks very differently and gets distracted too early. Or an individual with hyperactive behavior. They have a bit of chance to go through the strange journey of schizophrenia. Before being judgmental, kindly mark it. It's a time-consuming process to seriously get affected by schizophrenia. I would like to throw some light upon the causes behind this disease. Firstly, any past experience of an individual does matter, either a negative one or a positive. Secondly, introverts. Yes, you all heard it right. The kind of human who expresses themselves the least. Sometimes they do suppress their own feelings and are not that interested in being friendly with other people. See, being an introvert is not our fault, but what is required is to have a proper control on our own self. Brain chemistry, genetics from blood relation, and the environmental stressors causes too. What if I say out the term imagination? Right now, you must be imagining something or the other in your great mind, right? Yes, but this time there's a challenge on the floor. We all will try to imagine how a schizophrenic can think uniquely. Follow me after the line and imagine it. I request you all to please close your eyes. Currently, you are a schizophrenic and you are attending one of your closest friend's birthday party. And suddenly, you got your eyes on some vibrant clusters of balloons. Now, your brain will literally start imagining that you are sitting on one of those balloons, eating an ice cream and literally flying in the air. Open your eyes. Isn't it strange? This is how a schizophrenic can imagine uniquely. Of course, the activity was not real, but it's the reality for every schizophrenic patient. We all can see a graph here that expresses the age-wise category of schizophrenic. In the worldwide, there is just 0.32% of population going through schizophrenia by WHO. But, in reality, there's actually a huge number of lives going through the same mental disorder. It's the least curable disorder. Just a few people can be cured of it. Ladies and gentlemen, I repeat, just a few people. So, my aim is to educate the audience about something strange that can exist within you too. Now it's the time to grab something very informative. The major symptoms of schizophrenia. Hallucination. Yes, it might sound different, and it is different, in which a patient sees something that is not real. They can hear noises and voices of people, whereas the other people like us could not even feel a single vibration. Secondly, delusion, where the patient consists some core beliefs in their mind, but in reality, whatsoever they believe is all false. They believe and imagine very differently, but real for them, unreal for all of us sitting here. I think just an example can make you understand what disorganized speech actually means. For example, I'm just having a normal conversation with one of my grade mates about the upcoming mathematics examination. What if I suddenly speak, don't you think that the government should change? There's where we all get a hint. And the reason is that my own speech was incoherent. Lastly, negative symptom. Not a symptom, but yes, a categories of symptoms, where it comes in process either while going through schizophrenia or post-schizophrenia, in which a personality and the way of living of a person is totally changed. If before they used to be an extrovert, later they might be an introvert. They might get dead quiet, which later develops into alogia, another symptom of schizophrenia. It's rightly said that a schizophrenic believes that they have some kind of supernatural power. Yes, they can have a belief that they can fly in this whole room, or they consist the crown of the whole universe. But whatsoever they believe is all untrue, but true for them. Till now, we all are just hearing schizophrenia, schizophrenia, and schizophrenia. But now, the most awaited part of my talk is coming up. Just imagine you yourself as a 10-year-old child in the high pandemic of COVID-19, seeing one of your closest family member going through schizophrenia, whereas nobody even knows that a word like schizophrenia can also exist in this world. Now stop imagining. This is the person standing right in front of you. Yes, that 10-year-old child. And here my story begins. I hope you'll feel the journey of my personal experience very deeply. The individual was able to see people live in front of them, was able to talk to different type of people by actions and expressions. The schizophrenic was able to connect with people without any electronic devices, but with the help of their brain cells and great imagination. The schizophrenic used to hear noises and voices of their elderly relatives, friends, colleagues, family members, neighbors, famous personalities, and sometimes strangers too. Like literally having a whole parliamentary discussion in one's mind. Yes, this was absolutely possible in my family member. The schizophrenic was able to take big decisions with all the political leaders. They all used to have a virtual meeting. And this was too strange for my family to listen it for the first time. But, as I said, it's the reality for the patient. Some days the Patient used to be happy and joyful just on their imaginary achievements, and sometimes crying and bursting out of stress due to delusion. On a day, the patient felt an auspicious presence of a goddess, and the patient mentioned, "I saw a blue light attracting my meditating point." This statement literally blew all of my family members' minds. At nights also, the individual was distracted by hallucination, that too in deep sleep. On a dark, cloudy night, the patients saw in their dream their elderly relatives coming and giving them blessings. But in reality, all those relatives did not exist in this world. And the climax comes here when any patient will never accept that they are going through a disorder like schizophrenia. This was the toughest situation for my whole family to go through. I, as a small kid, would cry so bitterly in innocence. All my tears were so precious, but unfortunately, I have lost all of them. My whole family was not affected by schizophrenia, but yes, was affected of schizophrenic environment. You know what? Some of my relatives were so superstitious at that moment. On a normal day, they just called a saint at our house, and the patient was ordered to wear accessories on their body. Audience, do you really think it's a way in which a disorder like schizophrenia can be cured? Of course not. But still, there was a person existing in my family. Yes, my own elder sister. She was the one to choose the path of thinking scientifically, to choose the path of a thinking for a scientific reason. As she had a bachelor's degree in psychology and she also had the proper knowledge. Then we later visited to a professional psychiatrist, and I believe it was an appropriate way to make the situations more better. We all can see amazing arts here. The great artists are the ones who are going through schizophrenia, but still they continued on with their passion. They have expressed their great imagination. I hope their imagination will take you to another world. The sixth layout of cats by Louis Van. If you use your eyes sharply, other than cats, you can also find other two fine things. In the next painting, there is a self-portrait by Brian Charles. He was also a schizophrenic, and he has painted his own face, where his brain can literally speak, and he is also distracted by hallucination. See how different a schizophrenic can think and imagine. Every story of a schizophrenic is very, very different. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like you all to pay attention. Schizophrenics are never mad. We are the people who give them the title as mad. It's just that they are facing some psychological challenges. A beautiful mind. Such an amazing and efficient title is given to this legend. He was a high sufferer of schizophrenia. Still, he became successful in his life. A great mathematician, a Nobel Prize winner, author of Nash Equilibrium, a kind soul, and what not. The gentleman has proved that any of your disabilities cannot stop you from growing more and more. If you have that willpower in your heart, you can achieve whatever you want in your life. He has also proven that schizophrenia is not an indication of a weak mind, but an indication of a beautiful mind. Such an amazing and mind-blowing movie has been created on this gentleman, which inspires everyone's beautiful mind. The main takeaway from my talk is that I want to give some accommodating conclusions, not only for our nation but for the worldwide too. As I have myself shared a rare experience that clearly denotes that a person is going through schizophrenia, it's obvious that the other family members are also highly affected. So the family members can be provided with these three things: psychoeducation, mental therapies, and lastly, a counseling. This would help the whole family to come out from that hectic phase of schizophrenia. As I have already mentioned that schizophrenia is the least curable disorder. You know what? There's a fact. A person can die with schizophrenia. With death, they can take schizophrenia with them. But with immense pride, today I can say that my family member has perfectly cured schizophrenia. And do you know what I always used to think? That phase of my life was the worst one. But today when I'm standing on the TEDx platform sharing a rare and strange experience, I realize that I have learned these three qualities for my whole life: patience, bravery, and an optimistic vision. If there's a will, there's of course a way. And there we go together as a team. My whole family stood rigid and united for those 2 years. And the family member was certified by a fit and fine person. Going through schizophrenia is not a worst situation, but dealing through schizophrenia effectively is what becomes the best situation. Giving a happy ending to my talk, like every story gives. The schizophrenic family member has always had a dream that once Megha should be a TEDx speaker inspiring the crowd with a unique topic. So here I am, right now, fulfilling someone's great dream. Thank you all.